Welcome to this how-to guide on how to recreate and draw thumbnails for your fashion design process and for your end garment and how this fits into it. So first of all, let's look at what is a thumbnail. So a thumbnail is when we're taking our surface designs and choosing one small aspect and then recreating that small aspect and blowing it up to a thumbnail size. From the thumbnail, then we're going to then use it for other things within the fashion process, and that could be for your design of your fabric, for the design of anything other than anything else. So here is my surface design, and today I'll be using the iPad with Apple Pencil to recreate my thumbnails and drawing them digitally using the Procreate app. But you can do this using other things such as paper and pen or doing it digitally on like software like Adobe Spark, Adobe Suite, and also Canva. So my surface design, as you can see, is quite checkered. It's quite orange, green, and kind of warming palettes for the kind of autumn weather. So that's the process of where I've chosen my design. So my design brief is that I have to create a shirt for the 60s, inspired by the 60s. So then I've taken and looked at other things and then I've come up with my surface design. And this is my colour palette. So looking at this, you can see there's loads of things going on. There's loads of visual things going on within it. So if we zoom in, the benefit of the iPad is you can zoom really closely into certain aspects. So such as you can see that there's lines here. And these lines are just wee checkered. So look, when you can see that, you could then take that wee aspect. You could go for the aspect of how this goes up, like a kind of square line, like almost like tartanish design. You could then recreate that. You could recreate it some other way. So you can see how there's different aspects. There's also small boxes. You could take the longer boxes into your design. You could then take in the kind of elongated squares. You could then also maybe even take that and make it triangle, but keep the pattern inside it. So you can see that there's loads and loads of aspects within a surface design that you can take inspiration from. You can pinpoint specific things that you like about it and say, I'm quite drawn to the aspect of the kind of tartanish design and how it goes from straight up lines and then along and making that kind of simplistic and taking that concept, which was inspired by and used by Rennie McIntosh and also other fashion designers from the 60s and also designers who created other objects and artists. So today I'm going to take this aspect because I quite like this. And I want to do is go back to my gallery. And then I want to create a new canvas. So a new canvas doesn't need to be A3 size, A1 size. It needs to be just a small snippet shot. You don't need it huge. So today I'm just going to do about a 4x6 photo. And then ideally you could have it any other way, anyway, but I just prefer it to have it portrait. And then I'm going to change my pen colour to black. It's just, for this process, it's quite good to have just it being black and white, because then later on you're going to add colour when you recreate your collages, which I'll explain a little later. So when we looked at that design, as I showed you, it was the elongated, like that aspect, and that's what I'm going to recreate using the Procreate app. So the benefit of using digital technology is that when you draw a line, it bounces to a straight line. It's actually beneficial because then you don't need rulers, you don't need other tools, and you can manipulate it. So I just want to recreate that, almost that line, one line. And then for today, I'm going to then also recreate the second line going along the way. Going along the way. And then from that, that is my one surface design. So that is my thumbnail, nail one. So for the purpose, you won't draw right onto your thumbnails, but for visual explanation, I will. So as you can see, that's my thumbnail one. So then I've only taken one small part of the surface design, and that is these lines. It is that one line going along and a line going along like that. I've not taken the whole entire check or the wee lines or small aspects. I've only taken that small part, and then I've recreated it in a different canvas, and then that is my thumbnail. So then you could do another one that is building upon that. So maybe for the next one, you could do, so for my second one, I could do the lines again, but also add in additional lines. Maybe you want three going that way. Because you can see then how that starts to change the concept of it. You can maybe keep doing that all the way down so it gives you that checkered pattern all the way down. And there's so many other ways you could then take that small concept and then you're blowing it up and exaggerating it and using that for your advantage. So then we go back. So what is a thumbnail? A thumbnail is a snapshot of a small part of a surface design. And then from that, we then use it for other things. So the design process is that you went and you've found inspiration for my design brief was the 60s. So then I found inspiration for the 60s, and then I've found my colour palette from that, from my mood boards I've recreated. And from my mood boards and my colour palette, I've then chosen surface designs that fit in with the 60s. So this is quite a 60s tartan, ambery, autumnly feeling. And then I went, and then from your surface designs, you're then choosing a small part of that and then recreating a thumbnail. So a thumbnail is the aspect of taking this small wee part and blowing it up to a thumbnail size and using that. So from the thumbnail stage, you'll then recreate maybe 12 from all of your surface designs. So that was just one surface design. So that's just number one. But you will have at least minimal of 5 surface designs, and then you'll go and recreate 12 thumbnails from that. And these will all be filed into your portfolio, your fashion portfolio, so that it shows a development of your understanding and also shows to a client what they're going to get at the end of it. What is your thought process and how you develop it? And then from the thumbnail stage, that is when we then start to look at how we then take this and we add it into our design, garment design for the final garment. So this could be that the next stage is for me, I've got my 12 thumbnails and then I've also then recreated that. So the next stage is that you're then going to recreate collages using these thumbnails. So you'll only need maybe 6 collages, but these will be in colour. So this is where we then you can use card, we can use software to do that, or you can rebuild and build upon the Procreate app, and I'll show you. So you could then use different tools. So then I've taken different aspects and different tools and then blown it up and used a kind of a flowery pen to then build upon colour into my design. Once you then have your thumbnails, your collages, you'll have your collages in black and your thumbnails in black and white, your collages in coloured paper or digitally. From then, you're now going to then recreate this into some sort of fabric design. So you could then input this design of a thumbnail or your collage into the fabric. So how do we do that? We could do dispersed dyeing. We could do protein dyeing. We could use vegetable dyeing. We could also use a range of other like fabric painting, fabric screening, and also other aspects how we can then recreate that into our fabric. So that's how we then take our thumbnails. We go from our surface design, thumbnail, collages, and then we move on to our fabrics and designing.